Hey, welcome. All right, so this is the third video of a series around pleasure science and how do you not only rewire your brain for opulence, but how do you rewire your brain for materialization, to manifest, to call in, and to create more while actually doing less from a more relaxed place. So in the last two videos, we talked about how to rewire your burned out brain. We talked about how to use pleasure as an anchor to actually anchor pleasure into various aspects and experiences in your life that might be more challenging or difficult. I also gave you 3 ease and grace accelerator rituals to accelerate your ease and grace moving forward using pleasure as a tool. We also talked about, in the second video, really the whole video is all about how to ritualize pleasure into every cell and neuron in your body. And I give you a little bit of homework in that, a little pleasure homework in that video. So here's video number 3, Pleasure Science, how to rewire your brain for manifestation. So now that we've laid a little bit of foundational groundwork, I will give you some science. In this video, specifically science around orgasm, specifically how orgasm affects the female brain. And I mentioned in one of the other videos that there's a lot of research being done right now, specifically about women's brains, orgasm, pleasure. It's a very exciting time. Science is interested in this. I'm interested in this. So, but let's talk a little bit about manifesting. First and foremost, possibly easier said than done, I want you to claim your sexual power as a gift to the world. Your sexual power is a gift to the world. I'm not going to go too deeply into that thought here in this video, but I just wanted to start out. As a woman, your sexual power is a gift to the world. So let's talk about how to use your libidinous wisdom, how to use your sexual power to actually harmonize with your intuition, and I would say even with divine guidance. So your sexual power and your libidinous wisdom is kind of like a divination tool. We'll talk a little bit later about the science of how pleasure actually bypasses the mind chatter. Mind chatter that does not need to be there when you're trying to manifest. Pleasure, when I'm in a state of pleasure and I'm not in my mind chatter, pleasure connects me to my higher self. And I might even say that pleasure connects me with the divine. I'm in that place. I can open to receive deep downloads, which allow me to then step forward and put forth a very clear vision, a divinely guided vision, a vision to move forward in a way that I'm guided by my higher self and my intuition. When I'm living in pleasure, it's much easier for me to clarify my yes and my no, because we don't want to be trying to manifest something that is not in alignment. So when we're clear about what is truly aligned, and really listening to our bodies, yes, our intuitions, yes, divine guidance, then we come into alignment, and it's easier to manifest because we are manifesting that which is aligned. So for example, let's say I'm engaged in my pleasure practices, and I'm still not feeling any pleasure around a particular part of my business or a creative project that I'm working on. Then I have to stop and I have to ask myself, is it true that I need that part of my business? It kind of forces me to make sure that every part of my business and every part of my life is pleasurable, or at least I can strive for pleasure and kind of use any sense of kind of yuck or like ongoing experiences of contraction as signposts that my body is trying to tell me something, that divine guidance is trying to tell me something's off, something's not aligned. So now every part of my business is pleasurable. I really enjoy every aspect of my business. Let's talk a little bit about orgasm science. Orgasm science. So some of what I'm actually going to be paraphrasing here is from an actual article there's a lot of research being done at a lot of universities and hospitals. So you can find some really good, so you can actually really find some good stuff, like vetted research, just right on the internet. But let me go into a little bit of the actual science. So during orgasm, using an MRI scan, scientists are able to actually see brain activity in over 30 different regions of the brain. The whole brain just kind of lights up. And what happens is the brain is flooded with anticipatory and feel-good chemicals like dopamine and the release of oxytocin, which are hormones that mediate pleasure and bonding and love. PET scans show that during orgasm, the lateral orbitofrontal cortex is turned off. And this frontal cortex actually controls self-evaluation and reason and control. And this is often the part of our brain that's actually kind of generating or perpetuating negative mind chatter, self-criticism, self-evaluation taken to the extreme, reason. It's easy to get caught in loops of reason and logic and linear and to kind of get into constrictive loops of thought, of control and reason. So as when we are in a pleasure state or an orgasmic state, that all turns off. And this shuts down fear, this shuts down anxiety, this shuts down mind chatter that doesn't need to be there when we're trying to manifest. The relaxation of the amygdala and the hippocampus, these are two different parts of the brain, older parts of the brain, in women especially, further produces a trance-like state. And some of the brain areas impacted by pleasure include the amygdala, we just talked about, which regulates emotions. The nucleus accumbens, I'm going to read this part because I want to get it right. The nucleus accumbens, which controls the release of dopamine. The ventral tegmental area actually releases the dopamine. Pituitary gland releases beta endorphins to decrease pain, oxytocin, which increases feelings of trust, vasopressin, which increases bonding. So all these different parts of the brain light up. The brain is sending biochemical message to the body to create all of these delicious hormones running through every cell in your body, and your brain is just like soaking in all of its own neurochemistry of deliciousness. Following orgasm, and the muscle contractions that go with orgasm, the body experiences deep relaxation. And I mentioned earlier that women actually go into a trance-like state afterwards. And this is where I often receive deep, deep downloads. It's like all that stuff turns off, all of the delicious hormones turn on, and I'm able to receive awesome information in that place. So the final thing I want to talk about is using pleasure as a tool to actually embody the desired state, the state that you want to be in when you are attracting. So this is very different than like hunting or pursuing. This is all about leaning back to generate and then receive. So when you're calling something in, you're engaging in a visualization or a prayer or a manifestation practice or magic. Ultimately, you want to open up to receive and be in the state that you would be in once you have the thing that you're calling in. So if you're calling in a new car or a relationship or an awesome, you're wanting to lead an awesome workshop with awesome participants, you want, as you're calling that in, as you're manifesting that new partner, you're manifesting that new car, or you're manifesting this awesome workshop that you're going to be leading next month, you want to put yourself, as you're praying, as you're manifesting, as you're engaging in your magic, you want to put yourself into the state that you will be in once you receive that partner, that car, that awesome workshop. Experience embodying the psychological state of joy, excitement, gratitude that you will be feeling when you receive those things. So you can actually use pleasure as a tool to not only choose for your brain to produce different hormones and create a different kind of physiological, psychological state, but those absolutely affect your body and your ability to actually come into this desired state that is the state that you want to be in when you are calling in, when you are manifesting. So who knows which comes first, the chicken or the egg? The body is relaxed and in pleasure, so then the brain goes into this delicious state that I talked about. The brain is in this delicious state, so then it asks the body to produce more delicious chemicals. You can change your entire physiology, and just by doing that, you will absolutely notice your capacity to manifest and call in expands greatly, exponentially. So I want you to have fun. I gave you some rituals in the previous 2 videos. Play around with those. And I, with all my heart and soul, wish you the most beautiful unfolding into your dreams, your life, your path. So blessed be. Thank you so much for joining me.